Mingalaba and welcome to Myanmar Radio's Myanmar Today. I'm Agacho. Today we report on struggling book market needing further revitalization. Amyotha Hluttaw's discussion about bill on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens, and another news coverage on Pyithu Hluttaw hearing proposal to terminate duty of Pyithu Hluttaw Speaker. And the last report is on no local COVID-19 transmission in Myanmar for 10 consecutive days. All of that on this edition on Myanmar Today, but for now, let's take a look at what's happening in local news. A total of 1,168 Myanmar citizens returned home from Thailand through Myanmar-Thai Friendship Bridge 2 of Myawarri border town in Guian State yesterday. Among them, the 503 persons entered Myanmar by 24 buses under the arrangement of the Thai government and Myanmar embassy, and the remaining 665 persons returned from different areas of the kingdom on their own plans. Myanmar local officials helped them with medical tests and other supplies. Myanmar migrant workers have been repatriated from Thailand since 1st May, and a total of 7,779 persons have arrived back home until now. With the getting of the permission to resume the highway bus lines, the buses suspended because of coronavirus outbreak, 13 highway bus lines out of 22 have resumed their services. On the first day of the permission, only 2 bus lines were operated. The bus lines are being inspected by Kachin State Health Department and Private Bus Lines Supervision Committee, whether they followed the rules and regulations adopted by the Ministry of Health and Sports or not. The fares of the bus lines remain unchanged. A total of 172 traps which can hunt deer and wild pigs were found in April and May in Sri Hluttaw Wildlife Sanctuary areas, according to Wildlife Sanctuary Administration Office. The Sri Hluttaw Wildlife Sanctuary, located in the Minbu district, is over 100,000 square miles wide. The golden deer inhabit the land of over 400 acres. The deer traps are being made with the truck tires by taking out the chain. These traps are made by the local residents. It has been a long time that it has become a traditional business. It is also heard that the golden deer are shot by the hunters. That's all with the local news. Now we'll move on to our first report. After the findings on the bill on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens had been presented by the Amyotha Hluttaw's Bill Committee, the Hluttaw representatives discussed the bill, and the Bill Committee is to review the discussions.
The current law on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens was enacted in 2017, and Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the Pyithu Hluttaw submitted the bill to the Pyithu Hluttaw to amend the law on the 18th of February. On the 25th of March, the Pyithu Hluttaw passed the bill on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens, according to the edited version of the Bill Committee of the Pyithu Hluttaw, and sent it to the Amyotha Hluttaw. Then, the Bill Committee of the Amyotha Hluttaw submitted the report on the bill on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens on the 19th of May to Amyotha Hluttaw. The reason of amending the Bill on Protection of Individual Freedom and Personal Safety of Citizens is that, in Section 10, it is said that whosoever is found guilty of committing an offense under Section 7 or Section 8 shall be sentenced for at least 6 months and up to 3 years and have to pay a fine. However, since this provision cannot be built, anyone who is complained to commit an offense under Section 8 is to be arrested before finding guilty or not. Even though a citizen is wrongly reported, he or she cannot be billed, and the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the Pyithu Hluttaw said this can affect the rights of a citizen. According to the findings of the Bill Committee of the Amyotha Hluttaw, the Bill Committee submitted to make changes in the intro of Section 8, which is originally expressed that, in the absence of an order, permission or warrant issued in accordance with existing law, or permission from the President of the Union Government, no one shall do the prohibitions mentioned in the following subsections. and this is to be replaced as any responsible person shall. The bill committee also proceeded to add section 14, stating that responsible ministry shall release any announcement, order, or regulations to accomplish the provisions of the law. On the fifth day of second Amyotha Hluttaw 16 regular session, two Hluttaw representatives discussed about the bill on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of the citizens.
တာဝန်အရလုပ်ပိုင်ခွင့်ရှိသူမည်သူမျှဆိုပြီးအစားထိုးပြင်ဆင်ထားခြင်းဖြစ်ပါတယ်။မူလဥပဒေကမည်သူမျှဆိုပြီးပြဋ္ဌာန်းထားခြင်းဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အဲဒီစကားနှစ်ရဲ့ကွာခြားချက်ကဒီသူတရားလုံးအတွက်
Under the law on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens, it is stated to change as any responsible person in the bill instead of no one in the original law. The differences of these two statements make the people's understanding and perspectives limited. Just adding the statement any responsible person cannot make to overshadow the meaning of every citizen mentioning in the law. Even though the current law was enacted recently in 2017, the reason of amending it in a short period of time is that it is not able to be in line with the purpose of the law in practical practice. That is why I would like to recommend that it needs to add a chapter after chapter 1 stating the meaning and purpose of the law.
နိုင်ငံသားများရဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဆိုင်ရာလွတ်လပ်ခွင့်နဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဆိုင်ရာလုံခြုံမှုကိုကာကွယ်ပေးဥပဒေကိုကျွန်တော်ဆွေးနွေးသွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဒါမှကျွန်တော်အမျိုးသားလွှတ်တော်ကပြင်ဆင်ချက်တွေအလုံးကိုတော့ကျွန်တော်အနေနဲ့သဘောတူပါတယ်။
Firstly, I would like to confirm that I agree on the changes made by Amyotha Hluttaw's Bill Committee to the law on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens, but I would like to request about clarification of the usage of the word person, because in some provisions it is stated as citizen and in some it says person. It is necessary to make sure whether the word person includes all citizenships, foreigners, visitors, and other organizations and institutions. So I want to suggest clarifying the meaning of person and its coverage.
Then the Speaker of the Amyotha Hluttaw announced that Amyotha Hluttaw's Bill Committee is to review the discussions of the Hluttaw representatives. That's all for now. This is Dora Suizen from MI Radio.
That's the report on Amyotha Hluttaw's discussion on Bill on protection of individual freedom and personal safety of citizens. Pyithu Hluttaw heard the proposal to terminate the duty of Pyithu Hluttaw Speaker Hluttaw, which was submitted to the fifth day of second Pyithu Hluttaw's 16th regular session held yesterday. 110 Hluttaw representatives signed and submitted the proposal, and Hluttaw representatives were called to name to discuss the proposal.
On the fifth day of second Pyithu Hluttaw 16 regular session, 110 Hluttaw representatives signed and submitted the proposal to terminate the duty of Pyithu Hluttaw Speaker Hluttaw in accordance with the 2012 law relating to the Pyithu Hluttaw and 2013 Pyithu Hluttaw rules. Mentioning in the section 21 of the law relating to the Pyithu Hluttaw, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, or both of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker may be recalled from the duty by the Hluttaw in accord with the prescribed manner for any of the following reasons: A. High treason, B. Violation of the provisions of the Constitution, C. Misconduct, and D. Being unable to fulfill the duties assigned by the law. According to the Pyithu Hluttaw Rules, Section 115, 1/4 of the Hluttaw representative can sign and submit the proposal to terminate the duty of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. Wu Saintun Singh from Myanmar constituency, who is also a member of Union Solidarity and Development Party, explained about the reasons of submitting the proposal to recall the Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw from duty.
Pyithu Hluttaw ကိုယ်စားလှယ်130ဦးတို့ကPyithu Hluttaw ဥက္ကဋ္ဌဖြစ်ပြီးလက်ရှိပြည်ထောင်စုလွှတ်တော်နာယကတာဝန်ကိုပါထမ်းဆောင်လက်ရှိတဲ့
110 Hluttaw representatives signed and submitted the proposal to terminate the Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw, who is currently serving as the Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw according to the following reasons. While serving the duty of the Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw, approved to form the Joint Committee for 2008 constitutional amendment proposed by the Amyotha Hluttaw representative without in line with the provisions of Pyithu Hluttaw rules. The Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw failed to perform the bill for the Second Amendment of 2008 Constitution submitted by Hluttaw representatives U Thein Thon, Dr. Maung Thin, Brigadier General Mau Mau, Brigadier General Aung San Chit, and U Sai Tan Nai.
He also mentioned that during the regular sessions of Second Pyithu Hluttaw, the Speaker U Khumyat did not approve to submit some proposals, and the highlighted ones are as follows. 1. The proposal to consider the bill's unconstitutional amendment submitted by 20% of Hluttaw representatives in accordance with the reviews of Constitutional Tribunal of Myanmar. Number 2, the proposal of welcoming the National Central Committee on Prevention, Control and Treatment of COVID-19 and the Committee to remedy the social impacts caused by the COVID-19 and urging the committees and responsible persons to form a strategic plan. And number 3, the proposal to discuss with National Defense and Security Council concerning the outbreak of COVID-19 in Myanmar.
အထက်ဖော်ပြပါအကြောင်းပြချက်များအရာပြည်သူ့လွှတ်တော်ဥက္ကဋ္ဌဖြစ်သူဦးတီခွန်မြတ်ဒီပြည်သူ့လွှတ်တော်ဆိုင်ရာဥပဒေပုံမှန်21ပါ
According to the mentioned reasons, the Speaker, U Khumyat, is suggested failing to follow the Section 21 of the law relating to the Pyithu Hluttaw in accord with the provisions of the Constitution and not performing the lawfully appointed duty. So, 110 Hluttaw representatives submit the proposal to terminate the Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw.
Then the Deputy Speaker of Pyithu Hluttaw called for the Hluttaw representatives who want to discuss the proposal to name not later than the 29th of May. This is Dora Swisse from MI Radio.
That's the report on Pyithu Hluttaw hearing proposal to terminate duty of Pyithu Hluttaw Speaker. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. Myanmar reported no new local COVID-19 transmissions within the country for 10 consecutive days since 18th May, despite 22 cases are imported from the other countries by the returnees. Currently, Myanmar had 206 COVID-19 cases, of which 48 cases were imported from the other countries, according to the Ministry of Health and Sports.
Myanmar reported no new local COVID-19 transmissions within the country for 10 consecutive days since 18 May, despite 22 cases are imported from the other countries by the returnees. Currently, Myanmar had 206 COVID-19 cases, of which 48 cases were reported from the other countries, according to the Ministry of Health and Sports. Since 11 May, the authorities conducted COVID-19 tests on all nationals returning with relief flights. Dr. Tan Naizo, Director of Health Knowledge Promotion Division from the Ministry of Health and Sports, spoke to MI Radio about the imported cases. He said,
Local transmission was
There have been no local COVID-19 transmission in the country, but there is still some cases imported from the other countries from the returnees. They have been put into quarantine center for 21 days, and if they have no symptoms, they can go back home. If they do not follow the instructions of 21-day quarantine, it can have effect on lots of people, like the very first case. Now, there have been a lot of returnees who are especially carrying out anti-COVID-19 measures since their arrival.
Since the first confirmed cases in late March, the government has used aggressive quarantining, imposed a strict stay-at-home order, promoted social distancing, and enforced legal actions against those who break laws related to containment and prevention measures. Speaking to MI Radio about their current actions for COVID-19 through the phone interview, Pyithu Hluttaw, Region Hluttaw representative from Insane Township, said,
ကျွန်တော်တို့လုပ်နေတဲ့လုပ်ငန်းစဉ်ကတော့ဒီလိုမျိုးနဲ့ကိုဗစ်လုပ်ငန်းကော်မတီရှိတယ်။နောက်ကိုဗစ်ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ဒီရေးပေါ်တုံ့ပြန်ကော်မတီဆိုပြီးရှိရမှာနော်။ကျွန်တော်တို့လွှတ်တော်ကိုယ်စားလှယ်ရတော့
There is COVID-19 Prevention Committee and COVID Emergency Response for a Committee. Along the process, the participation of people, especially volunteers, are important. With these volunteers and other community organizations, we gave the information about COVID-19 and sprayed the pesticides at the beginning. Then we had delivered 35,000 masks for the third time. When we carried out the anti-COVID-19 measures through the township, people had become more aware of the disease. They started wearing masks. For the people who had recovered from the disease, we let them stay at home for a week, according to the procedures of Ministry of Health and Sports. As for the Insane Township, it had the most cases in Yangon region, but now there are no new cases from the local transmission for 10 consecutive days. We still have to do what we need for our people's health and their living.
As parts of Yangon reopen to business under a new normal, some city dwellers rarely observe sanitary and health guidelines like wearing of face masks and maintaining social distancing to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Although there is no local transmission in the country for 10 consecutive days, local people still worry about the upcoming new cases and their living. Matanda A, who is the shop owner from the Shuipida Township, spoke to my radio about the masks she is wearing whenever she is out. She said,
To prevent the COVID-19 infections, I wear a mask when I go out to the market or to somewhere. When I get back home, I put all the clothes and masks and accessories into the bucket to wash immediately with a strong detergent. Even though there's still a few cases, we have to worry about it. On the other hand, we have to work for our living. All we have to do is to protect ourselves as much as we can by wearing masks and washing hands to combat this coronavirus.
According to the Ministry of Home Affairs, more than 2,200 nationals from the countries, including Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and the UAE, arrived in Myanmar on 22 May. The Ministry of Health and Sports announced that it had conducted 21,593 COVID tests on Wednesday and 124 recoveries. It also said 55,616 people had been in quarantine centers across the country. The global pandemic has spread to 188 countries, killing over 357,896 people and recovering 2,515,460 people, according to Worldometer Coronavirus Resource Center.
That's a report on Myanmar reporting no local COVID-19 transmission for 10 consecutive days. The government authorities released an announcement stating that mass gatherings and events as well as festivities were banned after the first COVID-19 confirmed cases had been found in Myanmar in late March. The restrictions include book fairs, school family day ceremonies as well. The reasons for a sharp decrease in the sale force of the books are due not only to the impact of the novel coronavirus, but also to the widespread use of the social networks by the people inside the country. Mintong Ochin and Yanai Logan report.
The government authorities released an announcement stating that mass gatherings and events, as well as festivities, were banned after the first COVID-19 confirmed case had been found in Myanmar in late March. The restrictions include book fairs, school family day ceremonies as well. The reasons for a sharp decrease in the sale force of the books are due to not only the impact of the novel coronavirus, but also the widespread use of social networks by the people inside the country. Speaking to my radio about the difficult situation they are struggling because the bookshops have been closed during COVID-19 crisis, U Tun Tan, owner of Gola Bookshop, said.
In the past, we had book fairs marking 12 seasonal festivals. We sold the books at school family day ceremonies. For them, we had to make preparations to sell books, but now there is not much in demand because our bookshops have been closed for nearly 2 months. At such a time, we have to struggle with this difficult situation in order to stand some longer. We are running the shop only with 1/3 of the regular workforce. The sales force of the books is 1/3 when compared to that of COVID-19.
The shutdown of factories and industries across the world halt in trade sector, permission of local tea shops and restaurants to provide takeaway service, ban on factories, industries, and festivities, results in a reduction in employment opportunities and per capita income, as well as the sale force of books before the instant period of long holidays. The bookshops on Pennsylvania Street, which is the main book market of Yangon, were packed with book buyers formerly, but now the situation is not the same matter, with still in few numbers. Mother there, who is the shop assistant of Sabiloga Bookshop on Pennsylvania Street of Yangon, spoke to Emma Radio about the sale force of the books declined by nearly half, and those coming to the bookshop became fewer. She said,
Those coming to the bookshop decline in number, and the book sales also see a sharp decrease. The one who formerly bought many books isn't now purchasing a lot. The sale force decreases by almost half. The newly published books are just a small number. Just a few books of those planned to produce new books have appeared, and later no new books are produced. Books are sold according to their categories.
Despite the fact that economic declines affected by the COVID-19 and there is widespread concern over the infection of the virus in traveling from one place to another, book buyers buy the books they like. Speaking to Emma Radio about the book she bought from the bookshop while she was going to the downtown for other purposes, Masu Nielsen, a book buyer, said,
I came to buy the books on laws and economy, as well as the books on mental support. During the COVID-19 crisis, the word reading books is thought to be some kinds of mental support. That's why the people are suffering depression in the time of global pandemic. Any student or any business person needs mental support in times of suffering depressions. Mental support is meant for education or business. COVID-19 brings all business at standstill. Online reading is not the same as manual reading, especially different tastes. All the book can be read online, but in manual reading, the reader can turn over one page and then another. I prefer the taste of turning over page by page. During the COVID-19, it is not possible to buy books. When I'm going to the downtown for course and office purpose, I buy the books I went from the bookshop.
It was learned that the book sales continue declining as the public mainly pay attention to the purchase of foodstuff and medicines, though factories, industries, tea shops, and restaurants are being reopened, subject to the health guidelines adopted by the Ministry of Health and Sports. Utundun then, who is the owner of Gola Bookshop, spoke to Emma Radio about the different sales forces between now and the past, and the people pay more attention to basic needs of the family. He said,
In the past, there were those who could afford to buy books worth of 4,000 kyats to 10,000 kyats. But now, spending on the purchase of books seem to be thinking. The basic needs of the family become a priority. For these reasons, bring our book second priority.
The bookworms will be buying and reading the books they like, as many as they can, while book publishers, distributors, and sellers will be struggling with the difficult situation.
And that's all we have for today's report, and it's time to check on some international news here on Myanmar Today. China's ambassador to the UK, Liu Xiaomin, said China needs wolf warriors to set the record straight and counter those who are spreading rumors and disinformation. China has been the subject of some of the many conspiracy theories circulating about COVID-19. In an interview with CGT and Europe's The Agenda program, Liu called for the diplomats to speak out against what he described as fake news. Liu said, quote, "The reason there is a warrior fighting a wolf is because there are wolves in this world. You know, when there's so many rumors, disinformation, fake news about China, you need Chinese diplomats to stand out, to speak out, and to set the record straight, to tell people what are the true stories of China," end quote.
One is you talk about the wolf warrior. The reason there's a warrior fighting wolf, because there are wolves in this world. You know, there's so many rumors, disinformation, fake news about China. You need Chinese diplomats to stand out, to speak out, to set the record straight, to tell people what are the true stories of China. So I do not regard myself as a wolf warrior. I regard myself as a Chinese ambassador in UK, building a stronger relationship between our two countries. But there's some, rumors, there's some disinformation, fake news about China. I also encourage my diplomats for the embassy to speak out, to set the record straight.
China's top legislature on Thursday adopted a decision to make a national security law for Hong Kong to counter foreign interference and attempts to seek independence of the special administrative region. The central government's National Security Department will also set up an agency in Hong Kong to fulfill this job, while Hong Kong shall also establish a special body and enforcement system to safeguard national security, according to the decision passed during the closing meeting of the annual session of the National People's Congress NPC in Beijing. The decision said China will take, quote, necessary counteraction, unquote, if any foreign country or force tampers with the special administrative region's internal affairs.
With 2,800 voting yes, 1 veto, and 6 abstentions in the NPC closing session, China's legislature adopted the decision to establish and improve the law enforcement mechanism in Hong Kong. The decision to safeguard national security comes after the week-long deliberations and amendments, and amid violent protests that have been rocking Hong Kong since last year.
One country, two systems is China's basic state policy. The central government has all along fully and faithfully implemented one country, two systems, under which the people govern Hong Kong with high degree of autonomy, acted in strict accordance with the Constitution and basic law, and support the chief executive and government according to law. The decision adopted at NPC session is designed for study and implementation of the one country, two systems, and Hong Kong's long-term prosperity and stability.
The NPC also approved the government work report, but for the first time ever, without setting a regular economic growth target for the year due to uncertainty brought by the pandemic. Premier Li says China will remain a positive force driving the global economy, and that the country has breathing room for further policies to adjust when necessary.
We must be creative in delivering and crafting over measures. As I said before, the measures are designed to provide vital relief to business and revitalize the market with particular focus in keeping jobs and protecting people's life. Instead of undertaking infrastructure projects, this is because big changes have been taking place in China's economic structure, where consumption is now the primary engine driving growth.
The post-pandemic gathering shortened its duration through tighter arrangements and scheduling. Over the last week, lawmakers intensively reviewed and approved China's yearly plan and various legislative decisions, sending a strong signal that China's back on track after struggling with the pandemic. The NPC will prioritize public health legislation this year, placing importance on the dual effort of stabilizing the economy and strengthening regular pandemic control. The Premier says China will continue to cooperate with the world in these two aspects, by avoiding the Cold War mentality and seeking diplomacy to handle any disagreements.
Just a few days ago, a high-tech American firm initiated its new investment and made the announcement. I shouldn't make any commercial publicity for any company, but deep down I highly appreciate the move and send my message of congratulations to that occasion. I believe that example shows that business communities of the two countries need each other, and our business cooperation can be of mutual benefits.
President Xi Jinping during the four-panel discussion said that China's economy is at a pivotal stage for transforming the growth model, improving the economic structure, and fostering new growth drivers. Xi also added that economic operation now faces relatively heavy pressure due to difficulties and challenges caused by intertwined structural, institutional, and cyclical problems, which have been compounded by the COVID-19 outbreak. She also called for unwavering efforts to make economic globalization more open, inclusive, and balanced so that its benefits are shared by all and to build an open world economy. The president showed his great care for COVID-19 hit Hubei province and its resumption of production during his meeting with lawmakers from the province on Sunday. China's top legislature on Thursday passed the country's first draft civil code, the amalgamation of the series of civil laws ranging from an individual's marital issues to trade rights after a delay of more than 2 months due to the coronavirus pandemic. According to officials of the National People's Congress, the compilation of a civil code will expand the scope of the civil rights, form a more complete system for these rights, and refine rules for protecting them and remedying their infringement. Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday signed a presidential decree stating that China's civil code had been adopted at the third session of the 13th National People's Congress, the country's top legislature. The civil code will take effect on January 1st, 2021. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I am Agajo. Have a great day, everyone. Stay home, stay safe, practice good personal hygiene, and follow instructions closely, and always be on high alert. Goodbye.